Hello, I'm Anna, a volunteer at Climate Fast, and today I'm going to be talking about the Toronto Meeting Management Information System and how you can track how councillors are voting at the City of Toronto on policies that you care about. And we're going to look at it from the climate perspective as well and how we do it at Climate Fast. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. So this is the Toronto Meeting Management Information System. As you'll see here, there is a search bar and you can search any policy that you're interested in here. So if it's housing, homelessness, waste management, transit, cycling, anything related to that, you can put in a keyword here, click search, and see what comes up. You'll get a whole range of policies listed and some of them will be more important than others. So you'll have to kind of comb through all the information that this search result will show. But if you know the specific policy that you're looking for, that will definitely narrow it down. So, for instance, if I were interested in a policy related to fossil fuels, I could, search in that. And then you'll see here some items listed. So items can be understood kind of like as a policy, basically. So you get the item number, or they say like a policy number kind of, and the item title. So if I'm interested in this one, item number 2025.IE 22.9, called Transform TO Net Zero Strategy 2024 Annual Report on Implementation Progress, and this one is happening through the committee. So the Infrastructure and Environment Committee, I can select it and read all about what this is about. So again, just to kind of sh go through the layout of what's here, the item number is presented here. You can tell that this item will be considered by Infrastructure and Environment Committee on June 11th. And so it says June 11th here. This is applicable to all wards. It tells you the origin of it. It tells you what is being recommended. It gives you a little bit of a summary of what this item is about and some background information, basically. So there's a lot of background information. There's a section that gives you a little bit on what is the financial impact of this item. And then here under background information, you'll see like a whole list of different supplementary documents. And this is a really helpful place to go because, what you'll see under recommendations is basically like what is the action of this policy? Like what is being brought forward for, the committee or council to vote on. But the background information section provides like the detailed context on like why is this important? What problem is it trying to solve? As well as all sorts of other things. Maybe city staff conducted a jurisdictional scan or did additional research to help back or justify what's being brought forward. So all of that is under background information and you'll see here there's a couple different things. So there's like attachment one on the summary of the implementation progress, attachment two on the summary of, I guess, another implementation progress related thing. So you can go through this and let's just select one just to see what kind of document it is. Yeah, so a lot of information um, related with this one's related to the fleet vehicle idling. So this is, yeah, just one example, but a lot of items are structured in this way when you select them. Um, Let me just go through one more. So this one's on addressing the financial industry's carbon footprint. This is a different item. This happened March 26th, 2025, so quite recently. And this one is not at the Infrastructure and Environment Committee, but this one is at City Council. So let's select what this was about and how City Council voted on it. So see here the date. It happened on March 26th, 27th. Here's the title of the item addressing the financial industry's carbon footprint by Councillor Paula Fletcher, seconded by Councillor Diane Sachs. The status was it was adopted. It applies to all wards. And the city council decision was the following. So this was what was proposed to adopt and brought forward to city council to vote on. And so you can read the details here. So, if we just look at point one, part one of this policy was for city council to direct the executive director of environment, climate, and forestry to convene relevant experts to discuss developing a sustainable finance hub in Toronto. Okay, so they wanted to create this sustainable finance hub, and they want city council to allow for this to happen, amongst a bunch of other things. And then you can go to background information again to see any supplementary documents that you can read. Under communications here, this tells you, who has submitted communications. It could be an individual, it could be an organization that wants to have a say in this and show support or show that they're not supporting this item and why that is. So, you can see here there was one from the Toronto Climate Observatory, Environmental Defence Canada, Toronto Environmental Alliance. So let's check out the one by Toronto Environmental Alliance, see what they wrote. And this can be also a really great place to learn more about the item itself. It's obvious, of course, like if you're an environmental group and whatnot, you have like a lens and you're coming from a certain point of view. Uh, but it can be a helpful way to understand, what the policy is about, and the different perspectives that people have on that policy. So yeah, there's, T is showing support for this item, and then they explain why here. So in October 2024, researchers at UFT released a report showing that Toronto's top financial institutions financed over, 1.43 trillion in fossil fuel companies in 2022. That's a lot, which is nearly twice the total emissions from all of Canada and 100 times the total emissions from the city of Toronto. Okay. So that seems like why they're supporting it. It's like, you know, the Transform TO, which is Toronto's net zero strategy, really focuses on like buildings, transportation, and waste related carbon emissions. But, what about the emissions and the investments that the finance sector has in Toronto and the emissions they're causing across borders? What role does the city have in like creating policies and also mitigating the emissions that the Bay Street in Toronto is funding? So I guess that's kind of the gist of what they're writing here, and you can read other groups here. So what was the vote and the process there? So there weren't any I guess there was a waive referral here. Sometimes there are amendments and other types of votes that happen where councillors will point to a specific part of what's being recommended, maybe like part two or like point two of an item or point three of an item and say, I'm not completely happy with the wording of this. I want to like amend like a section of it. And they'll like amend the item itself. But in this case, they just went basically right to adopting it. And so the final vote to adopt this item is represented here. 18 councillors voted in support of this item, 5 councillors did not, and 3 were absent. So overall, this has the majority vote, and therefore it passes and gets adopted. Yeah, so that's, I guess, an example of how you can read these items. Again, this is a really helpful tool, the Toronto Meeting Management Information System. You can search any item of interest here in the search bar. If you want to if you find this a little bit overwhelming, like using a search bar, a really helpful place to go is the schedule. So if you select schedule here, you'll see a calendar and you'll see when all the, committees and city council meetings are. So for instance, let's see when city council's meeting here. So I believe this is for the month of June 2025. And for the month of June, there's going to be a city council meeting on June 25th, 26th, and 27th, at least as of now. And so if you want to see the agenda item for that city council meeting, you can select it and then it should show you. I don't know if they've updated it quite yet because we're still kind of ahead of time. Yeah, so yeah, it's not posted yet, but if we go and look at May, for example, maybe they will have something. So in May, the city council met on the 21st, and you can see their agenda. So what did they talk about? I know it's a little bit dizzy when I scroll a lot, so I'll stop here. Here's one. Improved active transportation and water access to Toronto Island parks. So this was something that they discussed. There was another item on the Ontario-Toronto New Deal, advancing the delivery of transit-oriented communities along the Eglinton Crosstown West Extension. If you want to learn more about what any of these items are, you select the item number, and very similar to the layout that we were just looking at, you see the title and the decision, the background information, see how many people communicated on it, sent individual emails, any organizations that submitted letters like this, this is like an residents association, etc. And all the different votes. So this has an amended vote, etc. So yeah, this is a very helpful tool. And if it's a bit tedious to check the calendar all the time, what I like to do is subscribe to follow the city council and committee with e-updates from the city clerk's office. So you can sign up for updates on any of the, committees that you're interested in, as well as city council, boards, and other areas. So if you expand all and scroll down, you can select any of the groups that you want to be updated on and receive the agenda items. So maybe you're interested in like receiving the agenda items for Board of Health or the Civic Appointments Committee. From a climate perspective, I would definitely recommend signing up for the Infrastructure Environment Committee, as well as Executive Committee and City Council. So if you checkbox those and submit your email address and select subscribe, you will get updates as soon as those agenda items are publicly available. I will also mention that when you go to an item, so let's just see here for June. Right now it's June 8th. So, let's see what's happening on June 10th, 2 days from now, Economic and Community Development Committee. If you select that, it probably will have the agenda items already posted. They do. They have 5 items here that they're going to be talking about in 2 days. And, maybe you want to talk about the Dangerous Dog Review Tribunal. You have something to say on that. You have experienced dangerous dogs or something. You can see up here that there's the ability to email on the item, submit comments, request to make a deputation at committee. So that means you can show up in person or connect online and give sometimes like a 3 minute to 5 minute deputation on why you support it, why you don't, share your experiences and whatnot. So these buttons are there and you can participate in municipal government, at least in the city of Toronto, uh, quite easily. You just need to know how to find it, and I hope all of this is quite easy to understand. If not, please email us at climatefast or sorry, info@climatefast.ca, and we'll try to answer any questions that you might have, especially if you're trying to understand climate-related policies. So thank you for listening, and I hope this was helpful.